It is that time of year again where all the little boys and girls get together and they celebrate the beautiful holiday of my birthday. What's up? So, my mom texted me and was like, "Hey Steve, what do you want for your birthday?" 27. It's kind of weird that my mom's still buying me stuff, but she was insistent. So, I needed some new tires for my bike. So, I got the Maxxis Minion DHF. Oh, these are some serious knobby tires. Now, I run a 26-inch wheel on my bike. My bike's old, so I haven't upgraded yet to a 27.5 or a 29er. That day soon will come, and by soon I mean in the next couple years, because I don't have any money. But I figured it's time to probably get rid of the old Maxxis igniters, which this front tire is actually still in some pretty good shape. Has some decent knobbing left on it, but this is the kicker. This rear tire is about as bald as your dad, my dad, your dad's dad, and your mom's dad, and their dads. So I gotta at least replace the rear tire. I've heard great things about the Minion DHF. I'm gonna replace both of them and see how they work. You know, when I bought the bike, the igniters came on it, and they've been great tires. I have nothing bad to say about them. But with these big cleats on them, it's kind of like, I mean, not that I'm riding it on the road a lot, but I am in Boston, so I do have to ride it on the road a little bit to get to the trails. It's like kind of running on the road with soccer cleats on. It's great in mud and like looser stuff, but that's about it. When you have like loose over hard, or you have hard, which in New England, there's a ton of rocks. So any tech, this kind of struggles, and I slip quite a bit. So today, I'm just going to be walking you guys through putting these new wheels on, and down the line, hopefully doing a quick review. I don't know why I hold the camera down so low. Doing a quick review of how the Minion DHF tires compare to the Maxxis igniters and or other types of tires. I can really only speak to those two because those are the only two that I've ever ran on my mountain bike. So I'm going to throw this up into the lift, get everything locked in, start taking tires off, and start popping tubes. Now for one of the most satisfying yet concerning sounds in the world. Now, pretty much I'm letting all the air out of my tire tubes. Yes, I run tubes. Like I said, I have an old bike. And these tires are tubeless ready, but the rims that I have are not. So basically, I want to run all of the air out of this. So taking the tire off is very easy. I tend to blow all the air out of the tubes before I actually remove the bike tire. Or I should say, the wheel. People get very technical these days. And number two. So, those are 2.35s. Well, about 2.3s. It's really not a big difference. Doesn't matter much to me. But now I'm going to, since this is up on its lift, you just got to be careful not to, if you run a mud guard like this, just be careful not to ding it. But basically, down here, when you are changing your tires and or doing basically anything with your tires, there are two very important things that you need to make sure that you don't do that apply to your brakes. Number one, do not hit the levers. That will compress the brake, and there's nothing for it to squeeze in. If you have a cog, it's like a little piece that you jam in there that will be something for the brake pad to push against. But if there's no rotor there, it'll cause damage. Also, talking about rotors, don't ever touch these with your bare hands. The oils, at least this is what I heard from my buddy who's a bike mechanic. He said if you touch it, the oils from your fingers could actually be very damaging to the resin pads. I don't know how that works. Don't take my word for it, but as far as I know, I've never touched my rotors and I've never had an issue with my brakes. So now I'm going to take my tire levers and, yes, levers. It's going to take more than one. And basically, since people don't really know how to change a tire, which baffles me that you ride mountain bikes and you don't know how to change a tire. So I'm going to take this end. You see that? Push it in below the bead behind it, right? Come on. And I twist it over. Now that little hook goes on the spoke. I'm going to take another one, go a couple inches down, and repeat said process. I'm going to take my tube. This is actually very important. I almost missed this step. So if you look, it's very hard to see on the GoPro, but if you look right here, that little bung hole, that should line up with one of the seals. So what I'm going to do is on both tires, the Maxxis is going to be in line with this. So I'm going to twist this around so that that is actually in line with the Maxxis label. Now, I like to throw a little air in my tubes so that they don't get folded up before I put them in. Not too much, just enough to give them some roundness and get them in the rim. Okay. Now, for the most part, I'm going to work this back around and just work that tire on. There it is. Alright, so now the bead is popped on, and I just need to inflate this. I'm going to do the other tire before I inflate both of them. So, ooh. Oof, my chain needs some greasing. Okay, pretty much do the same process. Once I'm done with this, I'm not going to make you guys watch both tires. Once I'm done with this, I'll put both of them on, pump them up, and see how I did. Oh, pure sexiness right there. So, if you look, this is actually one very useful feature. If you can see it, right here it says rotation. Then it has an arrow pointing forward. So as this rolls, it rolls in that direction. Wow, science. But I went through and I double checked when I was pumping this up, I was very diligent to make sure that the tube wasn't getting too inflated in one area. This says, the tire says a max of 60 psi. I usually don't ever go over 40. Sometimes I run around 35, but it really depends on the terrain I'm in and how close my pump is. Because if I you know, pump up too little and I need some extra, did the same thing with the back. I'm just gonna take this bad boy for a quick spin, just make sure everything feels dialed in. I also kind of want to just test out the new tires, and just gonna call it a day. I hope you guys enjoyed this little walkthrough of setting up my new Maxxis tires, Maxxis Minion DHFs. I have no idea how they are, but I will likely do a future review video of how well they work and the difference between that and my old igniter tires. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Look forward to talking to you next time. Later, dudes.